special meeting for the Chamber. We always look forward to this because it gives us an opportunity to showcase this fabulous city. And it is a fabulous city. It's starting my 10th year in the Chamber world, and I'll tell you, I've been just pleased as punch to be able to work with the fine communities of El Mirage and Sun City West and Sun City and Youngtown, and especially Surprise. Mayor Sharon Wolcott has been mayor since January of 2012. Prior to her election, Sharon served on the City Council as a member from District 1 and was on the Surprise Transportation Committee. Before coming to Surprise, Sharon had extensive public service background in the Minnesota State Legislature. She's telling me this morning she just really misses Minnesota this time of the year. Not. And at the municipal level in Minnesota. She's a strong advocate for regional transportation solutions, regional economic development, and she's proven herself to be a strong friend of the business community and the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is pleased to welcome her for the second time to our networking breakfast to deliver her State of the City address. Let's get the ball rolling, and then we'll hear from the Honorable Sharon Wolcott.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Mayor Sharon Wolcott.
Good morning. Ab, you already introduced everybody in the room, except you left a few off, so I have to fill that gap, so sorry. First of all, I want to acknowledge one of my colleagues who's become one of my dearest friends in this West Valley, and that is the Mayor of Goodyear, Mayor Georgia Lord. And also, and I will be acknowledging him a little bit later, but my good friend from the city of Phoenix, Councilman Danny Valenzuela. And I know there's probably somebody else in the room that hasn't been introduced, but I know that there's one more from Carefree Partners that I can't go without introducing, and that's Mr. Rick West. So, good morning. I wish to thank you, members of the Chamber of Commerce and President Ab Jackson, for inviting me here to share on behalf of the City Council the state of our city and our vision for the future. We have a lot to be thankful for. And you know what, today, before I even begin the speech, I want to be thankful for the governor's action last night for vetoing 1062. I was just about to declare Surprise a sanity zone where we will not enforce any illegal or unconstitutional laws. So thank you, Governor, very much. What a year it's been. And today, I could not be more pumped about the state of the city of Surprise. You may remember my first annual address was in council chambers, a very appropriate venue to deliver a sober message. And the focus needed to be on fixing City Hall. Last year at this time, I brought the message directly to you, a message of hope and one of confidence. We had passed several milestones and had plenty of good news to share. In spite of our challenges, I told you, Surprise is open for business. Well, the good news just keeps coming. And late last week, Fitch Ratings let us know that our MPC and general obligation bonds have been upgraded to AA-, and our outlook improved to stable. As our city manager, Chris Hillman, likes to say, the clouds are parting, the sun is rising, and we are planning our day. So this year, I'm here to say not only are we open for business, we are taking care of business. So congratulations to Chris and his team for delivering on the Surprise City Council's goals and direction well ahead of an already aggressive schedule. Thank you, Chris. The past 2 years, you've heard me stick to a theme about relationships, about partnership, and about connectivity. It's a must in a growing region like ours. As businessmen and women and members of the Surprise Regional Chamber, you know there is no more important investment of one's time than to build and foster relationships to achieve success. And in the world of politics and governing, it's no different. Ultimately, it's all about relationships. Now, this time last year, I was on the verge of telling you something big was about to happen in Surprise. But I hesitated, and my instinct was correct. I wanted to tell you how relationships that started with a collegial meeting in my office with the newly elected mayor of Phoenix, and a business lunch at a Surprise establishment with a Phoenix councilman, Tom Simplot, was about to pay off. But the timing wasn't quite right. The work was not done. There were more relationships to build. When you're trying to change the course of history, there are many players that need to be engaged and at the table. Players like Councilman Danny Valenzuela and Councilman Michael Nowakowski, both of whom care deeply about the future of the West Valley. So while we continued our journey as a city to correct our past mistakes and clear a path for financial resiliency, we were also laying the groundwork for a bright new vision for the city of Surprise. The news that was so tempting to share with you last year was this: the time was almost right. The path was coming into focus, and our partners were aligning to free the city from the shackles of deed restrictions placed on our city 15 years ago. So for nearly 6 months, I wore a path bare to Phoenix City Hall with one singular message: Phoenix, let my people go.
We had breakfast, we had phone conversations. She invited me out to Surprise so that I can see for myself what she is talking about, taking a look at the bullet. And there she is, pointing in this direction with her vision. And you can see it. She's so passionate when she talks about what the potential of Surprise is.
Mayor Wolcott took this as an issue and made it personal in the best possible way. She made it her mission to work to remove this restrictive language. It was a City of Phoenix issue, and she was very effective in talking to every member of the Phoenix City Council, the mayor. She was engaged with the attorneys. She knew the issue. She knew the legal ramifications. She knew what possible legal hurdles there might have been, so she could actually respond to questions and concerns as she was meeting with individuals.
This is not just for the importance of the people of Surprise. This is important for the people of the valley, of the state. Everyone should want a strong Surprise, and in order to get there, we need things done. We need this deed restriction lifted. So Mayor Wolcott did a very good job, not only for the people of Surprise, but again, for the people of the Valley.
This wouldn't have happened without Mayor Wolcott's leadership. This is the future of Surprise, and the mayor knew that. Mayor Wolcott was looking 10, 20, 30 years out for her city and the future of Surprise. Surprise will be a different municipality because of her leadership.
Well, you all know how the headlines read in December. Surprise is now in control of its own destiny. The victory for Surprise is hard to overstate. With our ability to lift the restrictions, the property becomes instantly more attractive to the kind of developments that make a real downtown. We are free not only to dream big, but we are free to make it happen. And we have honored the vision of our community. So for this year's State of the City, let's begin here. Let's begin by acknowledging the City of Phoenix for their partnership and for their confidence in us as leaders here in the Valley of the Sun. Let's begin this year's message with a new promise, that this partnership is just the beginning. It's just the beginning for Surprise and the City of Phoenix. Because after all, it's about what? Relationship, partnership, and connectivity. There is so much more to come from this budding relationship than just this first big step. So please join me in thanking Mayor Stanton and the entire Phoenix City Council, especially Councilman Danny Valenzuela, who's here to join us today. Thank you, Danny. Now, don't think for 1 minute we didn't need to have a clear understanding with Luke about what our intentions are when lifting deed restrictions over what was once known as Aux 1. Way back when, Surprise's vision was that of an enormous bedroom community, one that grew with such intensity, it not only threatened to encroach on Luke's mission, it did. It was imperative that it never happen again. It was a moral imperative that we as a city do everything in our power to protect the mission at Luke. We needed to make certain that any future planning in our city was sensitive to our commitment to Luke, and we needed to make certain that Luke believed our commitment. My message to Luke was this: Luke Air Force Base is part of our DNA. It's part of who we are. Thousands of residents chose Surprise to live close to Luke, including active airmen and women, and even more military service retirees. We will stand united in protecting Luke from encroachment and united in support of the statutory protections that guarantee Luke's mission for future generations. So let me also acknowledge General Jerry Harris, General Michael Rothstein, and Lieutenant Colonel Rusty Mitchell of Luke Air Force Base, not only for understanding who we are today, but that we can be even better partners with Luke Air Force Base in the decades to come. So while I'm on the subject of Luke, we're told the first F-35 is to be delivered to Luke is going through its final checks before acceptance by the Air Force. In December, I joined a delegation from West Valley Partners to take a close-up look at the first plane in Luke's inventory to roll off the production line. And it is one magnificent airplane. General Rothstein hopes to have the first one on the ground in time for Luke Day's air show that returns on March 15th and 16th. Luke is growing and working hard to grow its opportunities, its operational opportunities on the base, and hopes to partner with its West Valley neighbors like Surprise to become a full partner with shared services. Last year, we opened excess capacity at the Hollyhock Pool to Luke families. Many of those on-base assets were lost due to sequestration, and this gave us a primer on how we can help out. We want to partner with Luke to become what's known as a Section 331 ready city, ready to work together on new opportunities that could bring economic development spin-offs to the West Valley. That's a win for the West Valley. That's a win for Luke, and it's a win for Arizona. Last week, while sitting at your Legends Luncheon, Mr. Todd Hornbeck gave me the best compliment ever by saying that last year's State of the City event was a real turning point for the Chamber. The attention to production, right down to the teleprompters, made the Chamber feel all grown up. Well, the feeling's mutual. We as a city are growing up too, tackling challenges, changing course, creating value, providing leadership. And isn't that what grown-ups do? Isn't it great that we can do it together? Yes, it is. Grown-ups, they also like to talk about the future. But before we do that, I want to go back almost exactly 1 year ago today when I last spoke to you. There in the first row was a man who defined the meaning of public service in Surprise, Roy Villanueva. Roy passed away on July 22nd after a lifelong service to the community and the family he loved so much. Roy began his council service in 1979 and served as a council member, vice mayor, and mayor of Surprise. He and Rachel raised 3 children in the OTS. And Roy welcomed 2 grandchildren into the world. This afternoon, as we celebrate the beginning of another spring training season at Surprise Stadium, Roy will be on my mind. He was the first and strongest advocate for the Surprise Recreation Campus, now our community centerpiece. A piece of our hearts, a piece of our history left us when Roy died. We miss him very much. Those of us who knew Roy know when he made a promise, he was going to keep it. Last year, I made you commitments about completing the job of stabilizing the city's finances, energizing the community to create a new vision of our future, moving on transportation challenges, and never, ever forgetting that Surprise needs and wants a good business climate to attract and grow jobs. When it comes to making promises as a leader, I remember the best advice I ever got. Never make a promise that you don't intend to keep. But leadership and success come hard if you try to act on those promises alone. Today, I can tell you we acted immediately on the promises of 2013. We kept our word. We did it, and we did it as a team. Now, the greatest gift I believe I can deliver to my city manager and his staff is a council that works together, is selfless and loyal to the city they serve. Building relationships amongst ourselves, breaking bread together, knowing one another as real people, and learning to solve problems together, well, that's a lot of work in and of itself. But that investment in knowing and understanding each other has yielded the most important dividend: leadership. Each one of my colleagues is a leader in his or her own right and has given selflessly to the goal of guiding the city towards prosperity. So let me share a little insight about each. Councilman Biondo. Serving in 2013 as my vice mayor, Jim has shown his true gift is bringing people together. He spent countless hours building relationships in the biggest geographic district in the city, building bridges in the far-flung regions of Surprise where many felt forgotten. He gives his time selflessly to the local schools, both public and private. He is a great listener, patient, thoughtful, and like me, a bit of a policy wonk. He helps us get the words right because words have lasting impact. Councilman Williams. He's my little brother, and I got the scars to prove it. But at the end of the day, his passion for the youth of Surprise is his way of expressing his passion for the future of Surprise. His 3 children were all born here, and he, like thousands of other parents in our city, want the best opportunities for them right here at home. And education is his top priority because he knows that means a good job and a future only limited by your own dreams. Councilman Hall. He's my vice mayor this year. I told him I would never ask him to slow his roll because I love an active council, and is he ever active? Last year, I asked Skip to lead an effort to expand the council's bandwidth of knowledge about water. It's just one of many issues Skip has the energy to tackle. But because of his work, I believe no other city in the Valley will be as well-versed and equipped to make solid public policy decisions about water for our residents. And as our participation and engagement in the region has grown, I knew I needed to reach out to the council for help. This year, I've appointed Skip to serve on the board of the RPTA. Councilwoman Rachel Villanueva has her own record of distinguished service as a one-time Dysart District School Board member. And last summer, at a time of overwhelming personal grief, she graciously volunteered for service and was unanimously selected by the council to fill her husband Roy's position. I cannot express how grateful we are. She is outspoken and passionate about the OTS, but she also provides the council critical historic perspective as she has watched Surprise grow from a small rural patch at the edge of the region to the state's 10th largest city. Rachel, thank you so much for your voice and bringing it to the council. We welcome 2 new faces to the council team this year, and they are already doing so much to make that future happen. They are talented, passionate, and enthusiastic, and bursting with ideas and committed to accountability. Councilman Todd Tandy brings a wealth of government experience from the other side of the table and is giving rise to even greater transparency and ease of communicating facts to our residents about the city's day-to-day operations. Todd is committed to bolstering the argument for quality education as an economic development tool. His experience leaves me no hesitancy about appointing him to a regional committee on human service at the Maricopa Association of Governments. Last but not least is Councilman Roland Winters. Roland has always been a fixture around City Hall. He served on the Disability Advisory Committee for many years, helping to build Surprise's reputation as a community committed to helping young people of every ability enjoy the benefits of recreational and competitive sports. Roland was my own personal hero when he helped the city and the RPTA understand that the transportation needs of the most vulnerable among us were not being met by our own in-house dial-a-ride system. Roland's input pushed us over the top, and today's new contract service is bursting at the seams, demonstrating that Surprise is ready to ride and ready to participate in a full-service regional system of mass transit. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2014 council. Thank you, members, and I so look forward to working alongside you to make things happen here in Surprise. Now, I know talent when I see it, so in November, before our new members were even sworn in, I called a council retreat to get our ideas on the table and set the stage for 2014. It was a great day, one of the most exciting and encouraging of my tenure as mayor. My message was straightforward. As a city, we are not a kid anymore. It's time for discipline in development, focus in our planning, and a connected citizenry. There is no going back to saying yes to every development idea that comes along. We have created value in Surprise, and we need to understand what we are worth and hold to high standards in our growth models. We talked a lot that day about land use and how to avoid mistakes others have made as we resume growth, such as obstructing mountain views. We talked about protecting our open space, respecting our wildlife corridors and waterways, and taking responsibility for planning our long-term water supply. Sustainability means responsible stewardship and clear vision. This is the right council at the right time, and our community will be much better for their service. Now, It's one thing to say we're bringing new ideas to the table, and it's quite another to deliver. My experience tells me you have to have the structure in place to make an organization as large as the city move efficiently. So while we've experimented with informal working groups to look at emerging issues this past year, this year we are formalizing the committee structure, not only because we need to manage the workload, but because we know it builds trust and full connectivity to the council's vision and to our strategic plan. So 2 weeks ago, I announced two kinds of committees: standing committees composed of council members and working groups composed of council, staff, and residents. All 13 of these subcommittees and working groups will focus on our biggest challenges and most ambitious goals as we build a Surprise that is no longer merely a bedroom community, but a vibrant, sustainable city that remains true to the new vision embraced by our residents. Today, I will show you how it all comes together to shape the great adventure that is in store for us. But first, let's talk about what all cities are ultimately built on: good jobs, decent employment that our residents can value and be proud of. I promised to focus on jobs, and we kept that promise. Today, there are 1,000 full-time jobs in Surprise that were not here a year ago. Today, there are almost 1 million square feet of commercial office space under development that were not committed to in our city a year ago. While we've all been to ribbon cuttings and grand openings seemingly every week, believe me, we are just getting warmed up. It's great news for our city. Jobs mean opportunity for our residents, new dollars in our economy, but there is more to it. Job growth means other good things are happening too. Businesses relocate where they see a promising future for their products and their employees. New businesses spring up where individuals feel they are in the right place to take a risk, go for that dream, and build a future. And that says a lot about Surprise, because if people still believed the old headlines, that feeling of confidence and promise would not be here. At a recent meeting of the MAG Economic Development Committee, I heard Glenn Williamson from the Canada-Arizona Business Council talk about opportunity. At my invitation, he was in Surprise within a week. Why? Because Surprise is ripe for opportunity. And that is not lost on our friends from Canada. Canadians have invested over $1.3 trillion in the United States. Think about it. They're a small population, only 35 million. So many Canadian businesses have saturated the Canadian marketplace. In order to grow their business, they are investing in America. Yet only $8.8 billion of that Canadian foreign direct investment is coming to Arizona. So I ask you, why are we letting this opportunity pass us by? How many of you are either from Canada, know someone doing business in Canada that wants to grow, or live next door to someone who comes to enjoy the Sonoran Desert during the winter months? Raise your hand. Look around. Do you see opportunity for job growth in this room? Then help me. I've asked Ab and his board members to help me launch a Canada Day during spring training and during this year's Cancer Treatment Centers of America tennis tournament. Opportunity comes to those who go out and make things happen. So let's work together to fill those job gaps, focusing on quality as well as quantity jobs. We need jobs that sustain families and help build new neighborhoods for executives from new corporate presence we are going to attract. Because we know what we've got here in Surprise. Now we just need to get out and tell our story. These successes happen not only when trust and confidence are restored, but when the next generation of Surprise residents understand what makes Surprise so special. And one of them is our confidence and our ability to deliver on our promise, the promise of Surprise. It was just a year ago that our finances seemed opaque and our budget very challenging, despite our early steps to improve. I stood here to discuss managing a severely restricted budget and looking at a nearly empty reserve fund. Our basic services were still going full blast, but mid-range items such as replacing worn-out vehicles or staying on top of an aggressive road repair schedule were big question marks. We were dealing with it, a lowered bond rating too, and largely because of unanswered questions about our financial past. I told you we had begun fixing things, and I promised that 2013 would see us put those nagging problems to rest once and for all. We launched far-reaching audits to clear up our past and pledged a fully funded reserve by mid-2014. Did we do it? Yes. Yes, we did. By summer, every scrap of paper related to our interfund loans and development agreements had been scrutinized and cleared going back more than 10 years. A 2-year plan to replenish our reserves was ahead of schedule and remains so. At the end of our fiscal year last June, our budget was in surplus. And this year, yes. And this year, our city manager and finance department have confidently forecast yet another budget surplus. Now, yes. As our city manager likes to say, we are healthy, but we are not wealthy. So we need to be very strategic in the way we focus our resources. The impact on our reputation in the markets was immediate. By July, Standard & Poor's had already raised our credit rating from its low point, and last week, Fitch joined the chorus of confidence and surprise. By the way, it's worth noting that Fitch was impressed by the discipline brought by a multi-year expenditure management plan. That took discipline, but it paid off. I've always said that as we resume our progress, these ratings are critical in financial long-term capital improvements for community needs. And you know, it feels really good to be able to say all this and to look out at all of you and know that I haven't let you down. It's important for all of us to know that over these 2 years, we've made big strides in restoring our brand and building belief and surprise among people around the valley, the state, and even the country. But it also reminds me of how much of the credit belongs to you and the residents of Surprise. We don't accomplish our goals in a vacuum. We form them together. We achieve them together. So thank you. Thank you, Surprise, for your patience, for your trust, and for your commitment. Thank you so much. So last year, I could not stand here and tell you that the community had a clear sense of where we wanted to go, because we didn't have a community-endorsed general plan in any real sense of the word. The last time the public approved a plan was in the year 2000, when Surprise had less than a third of the people we have today. I told you that I sensed we were ready, that our community would engage, and we would craft a guiding document to set our course for the next 20 years. And we did it. When we formed a general plan committee and started reaching out, more than 2,500 people responded. It was tremendous, unprecedented reaction. The final plan was unquestionably the expressed vision of the people. And I was not at all surprised in November when it passed with more than 72% voting yes, because I knew it was authentic. I think of that success as a rite of passage for Surprise. When that many people say, now I'm ready to get involved, now I know my voice really matters, you know a period of renewed faith in our future has begun. Council has grabbed this new attitude with both hands. And with that sense of community support, we felt confident about moving quickly in December when we saw the chance to place the West Valley Arts Council into vacant space next to City Hall. You might remember this space. Heard Museum West was there before withdrawing from Surprise only a few years later. I watched that happen as a private citizen, and I took a lesson from it. The key to introducing and building the arts is collaboration with local professional artists. After all, who cares more about arts in our city than the talented artists already here, just itching to make our art scene take off? And under the leadership of Bernadette Mills, arts in our emerging downtown will be compelling, dynamic, and a heck of a lot of fun. You'll go back again and again to see those next live performances or what exhibits are up this week. Local creative energy helps define every great city and downtown, and Bernadette's group will help define ours. Thank you, Bernadette, for your stewardship of local arts and culture and having the vision to bring it back to City Center. Thank you. Our cultural life is critical, and there's another basic need in Surprise that we've wrestled with for many years. We hear about it from everyone, teenagers to business owners to senior citizens. We need to make it easier to get around town. We need to connect to the region and to the state. And we need to see people, businesses, ideas, and energy flow into Surprise from around the valley and give the valley more chances to know us. So last year, we saw major steps taken. We welcomed the 303 through the city. And we can finally see that day coming next year when the full-scale 303 will be open to the I-10 and the interchange there complete. The result will energize Surprise and the whole valley. For the first time, the talent and drive and creativity of our community will be on the grid. There is no question that finished freeways create wealth and drive business to the tune of billions. We will expand the type of businesses we will attract. Prasada and our local businesses will benefit, and so will our restaurant scene, our retail choices, our cultural life. The energy and the joy we feel living here every day will multiply, and it's about time. Now, that doesn't make getting bogged down at the Bell Grand a pleasant experience. A choke point like that is so detrimental, and we know it will get worse. We've got to fix it. And at the same time, we've got to protect the critical business centers there. I promised you that advocating strongly at ADOT on this issue was a top priority for me, and I kept that promise. We worked with ADOT on design, and we worked with businesses to advocate for their interests. ADOT heard us loud and clear. Surprise simply cannot thrive without a strong commercial presence at Bell and Grand. Those businesses at the heart of our city are critical to our future. We needed a plan that would help them succeed even in the midst of construction. We got down to 3, and then we got down to 1, called Option A. It's a freeway-style overpass with on and off ramps in the existing roadway. No long and often on ramps, access roads. This has the least impact on businesses and reduces the amount of land needed. It was your leadership here in the chamber that took that first step in endorsing the plan. Building on your momentum, the council gave it unanimous recommendation. And then we took it to the people. And I knew Surprise would respond. And did you ever? More than 2,500 people spoke out just through the survey in Progress magazine and almost 700 online. I asked the staff who counted and recorded every survey to bring that stack right here today, so you could see what it looks like when that many of your neighbors and friends and family speak out. 85% of you chose Option A. I'm bringing this stack of surveys with me to an ADOT hearing in Surprise later this year to demonstrate that when we speak with a convincing and united voice. We also never stop working on ways to help people move around, to get back and forth to work. Now, I know a lot of people here are aware of the Express Bus 571, straight shot down to Grand to Phoenix and back every rush hour. Every weekday, because most of the time it's standing room only. Last year, we expanded that service to 4 morning trips and 4 evening return trips, 5 days a week, giving commuters more flexibility and more choices. I'm happy about that. But you know what? It's not enough. It's not near enough. If you are standing on an express bus to work every day, or at a jam at Bell and Grand, or wondering when you'll find a job closer to home, or wondering if your kids will be able to raise their families here and stay close to you, or if you just want to see Surprise take its proper place as a great American Arizona city, we have to do more. So that's my promise to you. We will do more. Let me summarize where we are, and then I'll tell you where I intend to lead us. It's really pretty simple. Promises made, promises kept. Problems faced, problems solved. Things we were missing, we either now have or we are in hot pursuit. When you are starting out on a great adventure, the last thing you do is check to see if you have everything you need. And that's where we are right now, at last. We are packed, we're ready to go. It's time to look past just the rest of the year. It's time to lift our eyes. It's time to set out the markers of the real Surprise adventure. You ready? Let's begin. Surprise is now poised to attract a major corporate presence. We have created new jobs and businesses. Now let's leverage that to land employers with the corporate presence and the community leadership every healthy, growing community needs. Large, forward-thinking employees invest in their communities. Studies show charitable giving goes up as corporate citizenship arrives. Corporate strategists know it's good business to help keep their community thriving. So local hiring, training, and investment in arts and culture, the social fabric of a community often follow. A corporate voice in the Northwest Valley becomes an immediate player, leveraging influence on everything from taxes to transportation. Our advantages are becoming better known all the time. Available land, great access to improving transportation, a ready workforce, a friendly business climate. But look what's changed. Now our finances are clear. Our general plan is in place. We have a record of success, and we have the confidence of the region. We're ready. Let's act. Let's also commit in 2014 to showing the whole region how mass transit can work in the Northwest Valley and revitalize our Grand Avenue corridor. We can revolutionize the morning and evening commutes for thousands of our residents with all-day express bus service between Surprise and downtown Phoenix. Not just 4 trips each rush hour, but trips all day, all the time. The kind of frequency where if you miss one, another one's coming along soon. So there is an increasingly robust light rail service and bus service in the valley that a Grand Avenue Express bus could plug right into, making it possible for you or your teen who doesn't drive or a parent who doesn't drive anymore to get precisely where you need to go. Our ultimate goal is to bring a full-service rail component to the West Valley, which not only expands the service opportunities and connectivity to sports and entertainment venues in Central Phoenix, but for that reverse commute and economic development opportunities from the airport, which are currently enjoyed by the rest of the region. But we know what happens when we wait for transportation planners to address Surprise concerns. Decades go by. So why wait? Let's act. There are interim solutions right in front of us. The road is there, the buses can be found, the regional network is in place, and valley-wide, we have been managing transit systems for a long time. Our staff is looking into grant funding for buses, and we already have park and ride property near Bell and Grand. The success of the 571 Express and our regionalized dial-a-ride contract tells me people are open to mass transit. So I intend to pursue Grand Avenue Bus Rapid Transit, connecting Surprise to Central Phoenix and Phoenix with Surprise. And let's commit to achieving a dedicated diamond lane on Grand for those buses and carpooling commuters so they truly have an express ride. Save time, save stress, save wear and tear on car, body, and mind. That is a real quality of life accomplishment for our residents. So those of you who know me know that in my bones, I know how transportation connects to every aspect of successful community life. That is what I see here for us. This is more than just moving people. It makes Grand Avenue a destination instead of a relic. The potential has always been there, right before our eyes. There's nothing like it. A unique diagonal across the heart of the West Valley, straight to downtown Phoenix. It has the potential to be not just a thoroughfare, but a destination all of its own. Grand will always be there. It will always be important. Let's start treating it that way. Let's leverage bus rapid transit as part of a strategic approach to revitalization. When it is easier to get to Surprise from Phoenix, especially without getting into your car, we become more attractive to businesses that cater to regional customer bases, such as technical schools. More and more talented people discover our city, and social capital builds. We can never forget that it is always about people. In fact, it's about our most historic neighborhoods, people living where Surprise began. So I intend to move us forward on that front too, which is why I've asked Councilwoman Villanueva to chair a working group to start an annual I Heart Grand festival this fall. A fun, family-friendly way to reintroduce our historic neighborhoods to the rest of our city and start bringing us back together again. This year also needs to be a year of decision. The community gave us a roadmap with the general plan. Now let's get down to a turn-by-turn direction. Let's review our needs and prioritize our 3 to 5 year capital plans. The time is right. Our finances are clear, our credit ratings are improved, and our budget is in great shape. So let's get talking. What do we need that we don't have? What can we anticipate, plan, and finance? We have unfinished sections of local streets that scream for attention and no real investment in rapid transit connectivity. We are missing significant investments in parks and open space and have among the lowest acreage per capita in the valley. We continue to grow, and the public safety needs for strategically located fire stations and police substations will always be on a capital needs list. So there's much to discuss with our residents, and the community conversation really never stops in Surprise. But this year, we need to focus it on our needs and how we pay for them. If we want it in 3 to 5, we need to start right now. In 2014, let's build on our emerging leadership role to help build a regional plan for economic development, the future of our young people, transportation, and other issues. For many decades, most regional resources went to the East Valley. We see that in everything from how long we waited for our freeways to how many big-name corporations locate in the East Valley. The success of the East Valley over the decades really comes down to one word: unity. We need that unity here, and it's already started. This year, you will be hearing more about the West Valley vision. Surprise and our partners, the West Valley cities, are working with an international consulting firm to build a serious 30-year vision for the entire region. We are talking about a cooperative vision, something our friends in the East Valley did so successfully and so long ago. A cooperative vision means we don't beat each other up about who gets which ED opportunity. It means we don't argue over who offers better educational opportunities or squabble over scarce transportation resources. One thing we already agree on: those days are over and they accomplished exactly nothing. It's cooperation that creates success. We learned that when we worked together in the Luke Forward movement and spoke as one voice supporting Luke as the main training center for the F-35 fighter. What an amazing accomplishment for Arizona, and what a statement about a unified West Valley and what that can do. Now, here's another example. Interstate 11. This congressionally authorized freeway will link Phoenix to Las Vegas and serve as a national gateway to the Northwest Valley. We are already working with the federal government and the state of Nevada on alignment options. In making our case for an alignment that will maximize the benefits to the West Valley, we can't be seen as bickering neighbors. We need to stand behind a responsible regional solution, lessening the impact of our growth on our energy demands, on our water supplies, and on our desert environment. It's absolutely critical. It makes no sense for good sustainability policy to stop at one city's borders just to meet another set of policies on the other side of the street. No, the land and our natural resources demand to be seen as a piece and managed as an interconnected whole. The future demands that we work together, and the future will hold us accountable. It's because of the future and a vision of that future I keep a sharp focus on attracting a 4-year university to Surprise Center. A university is always about the future. Universities build the future before our very eyes. Families who love Surprise and want their children to love it too know that the chance to get a college degree in our hometown is critical to growing a second or third generation born, bred, and committed to Surprise. Every corporation that looks at us, any businesses already here, want to know, are we serious about building our intellectual, educational, and cultural resources? I promise that vision of Surprise-based university never leaves my mind or my plans. So as I stand here today, I'm considering telling you that something very big is about to happen in Surprise. And I know you've all been anticipating it, but, oh, what the heck. We're close. We're very, very close to finalizing our negotiations with a major university to move lock, stock, and barrel to Surprise City Center. A full public announcement is imminent. But while we are close to announcing a university partner that will transform downtown Surprise with a 4-year undergraduate campus, that work is not quite finished. Now that may seem like a bit of a tease, okay, but there is something certain and sure. The College of St. Scholastica, a private Benedictine school from Duluth, Minnesota, has just opened a site at Surprise Communiversity to provide online healthcare programs in health information management and health informatics. St. Scholastica hopes within 4 years to invest $10 to $20 million to build its own graduate school campus at City Center in Surprise. That is exciting news, not only for Surprise, but for the entire West Valley. I love being among so many people who, like me, love Surprise and are dedicating so much energy and talent to improving our community. And in conclusion, I know you will understand when I tell you that what it all means is simply this. We are moving past the basics. We are packed and ready. Our adventure awaits. A lot of our guides and trailblazers are here today. Dr. Gail Plutnick, the superintendent of Dysart Unified School District, who works tirelessly to innovate our schools. Dysart produced the 2014 Arizona Education Foundation Teacher of the Year, 5th grade teacher Beth Maloney of Sunset Hills, who we recognized Tuesday night at our council meeting. Dr. Plutnick continues to work with us in so many ways. For example, helping us survey youth and bring the voice of young people to City Hall. Business leaders like Ab Jackson, who never give up in the pursuit of growth and success for our business community. This is a first-class idea man, and the rarest of kinds. He actually gets it done. Ken Wright, who guides and encourages us to stay focused on our tomorrows as much as today, ensuring that our water resources sustain us for generations to come. Melissa Holdaway, educating and innovating with young people who need the outreach and the encouragement the most. Michelle Dionisio and the good people of Benavilla, who remind us that every great community has a strong and open heart. Leo Mankiewicz, who can't be with us today, stepped up to serve on the City Council when a vacancy arose and represented District 5 with confidence and energy. He was the first chair of the General Plan Committee that galvanized Surprise, and we are indebted to Leo for his service. And so, let the adventure begin. Gone are the days of rescue and resuscitate. We did that. We will no longer wonder what we will be when we grow up. We know it. We are no longer an isolated, if growing part of the community. Now we are connected and influential. We have a history to embrace and an even longer, luminous future to plan and accomplish. I cannot wait for what comes next, and I'm so proud and happy that we will be doing it together. Thank you.